Hello and welcome back to another video. Today, I will be showing you how to structure your dissertation. A quick guide. Elements of a master's and PhD dissertation. A research report should consist of the following key elements: title and title page, abstracts, table of contents, list of tables and figures, the introductory chapter, literature review chapter, methodology chapter, data analysis and reporting of findings, discussion of findings, and the conclusion. The contents of each section are presented in the next slides. Title. What the researcher has done in his or her research should be reflected by the title. Thus, the title should give an indication of the main variables of the study and the main purpose of the study. Also, a good title includes the selected organizational context, country context, and an indication of the method of the study. Example: the impact of work-life balance practices on employee performance, the main purpose. A survey, the method, of supervisory level employees of a garment manufacturing firm, organizational context, in Sri Lanka, country context. Title page. The information such as candidate's name, student number, the faculty and school name of the university and the date of dissertation submission should be in this page. You may follow a particular formatting style, APA, American Psychological Association, and Harvard formatting styles. APA format. Abstract. The number of the maximum words in abstract depends on the university dissertation submission guidelines. Generally, an abstract should consist of 300 to 500 words. The abstract should begin with a motivational sentence, which explains the current context of the area of study. Afterwards, the abstract should consist of the following key ingredients: research problem and objectives, sampling design, population, sampling strategy, and the response rate, data collection method, data analysis techniques and results, conclusions, recommendations, theoretical and policy implications, directions for future research. Table of content. Table of contents provides easy access to different chapters and parts of the dissertation, since it gives the relevant page numbers. This is an important notice. Each chapter should have a chapter introduction to explain the contents of the relevant chapter. Each chapter should end up with a chapter summary, which should include what was discussed in the relevant chapter. List of tables and figures. It should give a list of tables and a list of figures with the relevant page numbers. The introductory chapter. The contents of the introduction chapter with the objectives of each chapter is given in the following table: section and objective. Introduction and background, to introduce the broad research area. A brief review of literature, to identify the research gaps. Problem identification, based on the research gaps presented in the previous section. A research problem should be given either as a problem statement or as a research question. Objectives of the research. The problem statement should be presented as a set of specific objectives. Research implications. What impact the research is going to make based on research findings should be discussed in this section. In examples, implications to theories, policy implications, and implications to the practice. Overview of the chapter structure. The chapter in the dissertation and the content should be presented in brief in this section. Literature review chapter. The objective of this chapter is to identify the existing knowledge in the chosen area of study and propose research gaps, such as empirical gaps, methodological gaps, and theoretical gaps. There is no generally accepted structure for this chapter. Thus, the researcher has alternative formats, such as themes or concepts. approaches to a research question, debates, and the stages of historical development. Methodology chapter. Methodology chapter should follow two main arguments: how you conducted the research, and why you conducted the research in that way. Thus, this chapter should include selected methodology with an explanation of how the methodology is aligned with hypothesis, the methods of data collection and the procedure followed in collecting data, the data analysis techniques used, the population and the strategy followed in selecting a representative sample, the hypothesis development procedure, and the set hypotheses, the theoretical framework, data analysis and reporting of findings, the data collection procedure followed, and how the collected data was analyzed should be presented. The analyzed data should be presented by following an acceptable presentation format, for example, following APA guidelines in presenting tables and figures. Findings should be presented with relevant statistics for each hypothesis separately and should explicitly state whether a hypothesis is accepted or rejected. Discussion of findings. This chapter should have a discussion by addressing the following questions. Do you accept or reject whole or part of the hypotheses? Why did you accept or reject hypotheses? Are there any extra findings beyond the results of testing hypotheses? What is the meaning of each finding in simple words? Do your findings agree or disagree with the previous research? What are those studies? What are the implications of findings to those theories? The conclusion. The conclusion is not a summary of the research. Thus, the conclusion chapter should discuss the importance of the research findings to expand the existing knowledge of the area of chosen. That is, the importance of findings and their uniqueness should be discussed. This chapter should show how the research problem was addressed and how the research objectives were achieved. The structure of this chapter can be summarized as follows: a summary of the main findings, implication of findings for the practice and policy decisions, limitations of the study, directions for future research based on the findings, conclusion. This is the end of the conclusion chapter. This includes a summarized conclusion of the whole dissertation. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more videos to come.